Hi there. I know it's been a while since we've sat down and chatted like this, since I've talked to you directly. And this time I'm doing it because I have a bit of a prompt for you that I'm hoping you'll participate in. And that prompt is part of VaLITines. If you're coming to this video not knowing what VaLITines is a month-long reading event that celebrates our love of literature and community. So in addition to video prompts like this one, there are also things like reading challenges, prompts for Instagram, Twitter reading sprints, a bookish gift exchange, and other really fun activities. So I'm hoping if you haven't heard of it, you'll go check it out and see if it's something for you. We'd love to have you join us. So now for the video prompt. My prompt for you is actually a month-long one. Don't get too nervous. I promise it can be as intensive or not so intensive as you want. The actual prompt is to just engage in some self-care activities throughout the month. That's it. I know it's really vague, but I'm going to explain a little bit how I've been thinking about it, and if it's something that you find useful, you can also kind of take that to heart and use that for your own self-care activities. In previous years, when I was asked to do these types of video prompts, I usually thought of something like a skit or something like maybe a top 5 video or writing a letter or something like that. And I think all of those prompts are really great, and you're going to get some like that later in the month. So if that's more your jam, please just go ahead and do that. But my prompt this year was really informed by the year that I had in 2020. I think for a lot of us, 2020 was very challenging. It was sometimes sad, lonely, and all sorts of things I don't pretend to know. But what that meant for me was I started looking into kind of self-care and self-love more, and in a more expansive way. When I'm thinking about self-care now, I'm often thinking about activities that previously I never wanted to do. Those activities are usually something like cleaning my apartment, putting together a budget for my spending, even I think engaging in a kind of new hobby that I felt like I wasn't very good at. And I was kind of thinking about that in this past year, and I realized how many of those activities are linked to shame for me. If I was cleaning my apartment, I was doing it because I was thinking about, oh, how bad it is that it's so messy, and how did I let it get like this? When I was putting together a budget, I think especially in 2020, where I found myself spending more, as a way to find some sort of serotonin, I was like, oh, why did you spend so much? It became something that I did out of shame. And I think that I'm probably not the only one who's doing that. And my real goal for February, and something that I hope you will walk away from February feeling or thinking about, is reframing some of those tasks so you're not doing them out of shame. Because the reality is, you know what? I deserve to have an apartment that's clean for me, right? Not for anyone else. And I feel better when it's that way. And if I can just think about these tasks, not in a way where I'm punishing myself for not doing them or doing them enough, but I'm celebrating the fact that I'm doing them, maybe that will help me think about them differently and make these tasks feel less taxing, really. And the same thing goes for new hobbies. If I'm coming at these hobbies and I'm thinking to myself, why am I not improving at this certain rate? Or even with something like BookTube, why am I not getting more subscribers? Why am I not, uploading at this regular schedule? And it's all shame. this thing that I'm meant to be doing for fun and that I'm meant to be doing as a creative outlet for myself because I care for myself and I love myself has now become something that is attached to this fear and shame and judgment, and I don't want any of that. So all throughout February, that's something that I really want to focus on, and something that I'm encouraging you to focus on. So when you're thinking about whatever self-care activity you want to focus on, I say that a lot, this month, you know, think about maybe you also want to put together a budget. And that's something that you can just do once a week. You don't have to do it all the time, or even once every 2 weeks, or you set it up at the beginning of the month, you review it at the end. It can be, you know, those types of tasks where you've been putting it off for a while and you do it and you celebrate it. It can be something related to your booktube channel if you want it to be, or to whatever channel that you have. It can also be related to another hobby. I've recently been teaching myself knitting, and you know what? I am terrible at it, and I love it so much because I have just been like, you know, this doesn't even have to be anything. I'm just practicing knitting, and that's it. If you're a writer, you know, it can also be writing, but really, I just want you to think about these things in a different way if you find that it's been hard for you. And that's really the main goal of this prompt. Feel free to do with it whatever you want. Like I said, it can be daily, it can be weekly, it can be, you know, once every couple of weeks or something like that. Like I said, I really want this challenge to be as flexible as possible, with the main goal being reframing how you're thinking about these different things that you do in your day-to-day life, so you're not doing them from a place of shame. And I hope that if you set out a goal for the month in terms of how often you do that task, or how often you engage in that hobby, or whatever, you don't punish yourself if you don't live up to it, if you don't complete it perfectly. This is not a pass-fail challenge, okay? Like, I really just want you to remove that pressure from yourself and focus on that kind of gentle and compassionate attitude that you really deserve. So that is my challenge. Like I said, you're under no obligation to do it. Please don't feel pressured to do it or to do all of the challenges. There will be others that will be different and will be a lot of fun. So if that's what you want to do, that's totally okay. That's totally okay. If you decide that you do want to do this, I bet you're wondering, where does the video component come in? You know, this is something that you can mention during a vlog if you're vlogging. This is something that you could also just make a video about, to talk about what you're focusing on, what you're thinking about, how you're working to maybe reframe some things around self-care and self-love. Totally up to you. If you do decide to make a video, no pressure, but if you decide, we actually have a kind of added bonus for you. If you make a video, and again, this can be a vlog, you could just mention it quickly, or you can make a totally separate video. You could be entered in to win a book from Angry Robot Books. And there's actually a specific book associated with each challenge. For this challenge, or this prompt, I'm really trying to frame it as a prompt and not a challenge. The book is The Second Bell by Gabriella Houston. And let me read to you the back synopsis because it really actually sounds so good. So let's learn what it's about. In an isolated mountain community, sometimes a child is born with two hearts. Such a child, a striga, is considered a dangerous demon which must be abandoned on the edge of the forest to protect the community. The only choice the child's mother can make is whether to leave her home with her infant or stay behind and try to forget. Miriat made her choice. She and her 19-year-old striga daughter, Selka, now live a life of deprivation and hardship in a remote village where to follow the impulses of the other heart is forbidden. But Selka is headstrong and young, and when threatened with losing everything, she is forced to explore the depths of her true nature, testing the bonds between mother and child. Ooh, it sounds so good. So if you decide that you want to enter in to win this book, make sure you just tag us on Twitter. The Twitter handle will be around here and below. and let us know that you've done it so we can make sure to count your entry. And I think that's everything. So I hope you'll have a lovely day, and until next time, keep traveling. Bye!